Hello, everyone. This is Chelsea, and welcome back to Armbridge Podcast, where we dismantle the system like the revolutionaries we are, one podcast episode at a time. Today is, oh man, today I believe is April 8th, of which I am correct, and last week we broke down the Grammys. So if you guys haven't seen that yet, please go check it out. It's mostly us just fangirling about the performances. And so it might help for you to also view our Instagram story highlights where we reacted to the Grammys live with each other. So go check that out if you haven't. It's streaming everywhere as of now, as of today. Of course it is, because I'm releasing this episode today. Anyway, it's been pretty busy for me recently. I'm preparing for finals, which are actually next week as of now. They're pretty early at my university. So I'm preparing for those, and if you also notice that the last episode was episode 39, which means theoretically this was supposed to be episode 40, but I wanted to do a 40th episode special with Sanaka, since that also means it's the end of season 2 of our podcast, which is very close to our 1-year anniversary of the podcast. So I didn't want to jeopardize that. I'm also super busy right now, so I figured I'd just record a quick bonus episode for you guys while waiting for the really big, exciting episode we're going to have out. So today, I'm if I sound fast or incoherent, it's because I drank a lot of instant coffee. I don't feel very well. In fact, I feel very anxious. Although earlier I was pumping myself up, girl boss style, to study philosophy. But now I feel terrible because the coffee's kicking in. So if I just sound crazy, don't consider it. Don't think about it. It's fine. I am here now on the Conversation Starters World random question generator. So for this bonus episode, I'm going to keep it kind of quick and answer a few questions, and then we're going to end off with our song of the week. And this question says, if you didn't care at all what people thought of you, what clothes would you wear? Honestly, I don't know. I used to have reservations about cropped shirts, but nowadays I wear them more often. I don't think I have any reservations necessarily about what I'm going to wear. I think, honestly, that's going to change more when I go to college, because I guess there's a general consensus of how you should dress, but there's no, I guess, formal dress code, so I'm really excited to get some new clothes, of course, in a sustainable manner, and try them on. But I've always wanted to wear, I don't know, I guess disco pants. I think disco pants are something that I've always wanted to wear. I can't find any, and I feel like a lot of the time when I see them on online shopping websites, they're always on models with very, very skinny body type, and I feel like I don't necessarily fit that. So it's really hard to shop for pants that I think would fit my body specifically, because they're so tailored for one specific body type. But anyway, I think most of the reservations I have about what I wear are reservations I have about myself, not so much what other people think I'm wearing. I don't really care, I guess, but yeah, it's still something I'm working on, because in quarantine I just think a lot about myself and how I perceive myself, so it's kind of difficult to answer that question, but I'm working on it. I'm going to be a whole other person when I go to college, I swear. I'm so excited. Okay, so this question is asking, what are some things that are okay to do occasionally, but definitely not okay to do every day? Honestly, this is something that I do. I don't think it's something that I could discuss in a more general, for a more general group of people, because this is kind of specific for me. If I personally take too many days off from doing work, I feel much worse having to pick up the slack later. I really don't like procrastinating. I still do it, of course, because I just get tired, but I think spacing out the things that you enjoy and spacing out time for yourself can be good. Mainly because if I take a self-care day, which I've definitely done during the time that's further from finals, because now that finals are coming up, I have to do work every day, but it's a slow work day, I would just take a day and do nothing. but I found that I would kind of wallow in my thoughts too much, and I would sort of, I guess the term is like doom scrolling, right? I would scroll through a lot of things. I would just kind of not think about anything. I wouldn't do hobbies that I found like proactive. I guess proactive hobbies for me could be things like painting or like journaling or maybe writing a podcast episode or something, because those are things that I enjoy, but I wouldn't do those. So I think like spacing out your rest time and finding different ways to quote unquote rest, because quote unquote resting could look like taking a walk. It could look like trying a new hobby. It could look like, you know, watching a movie, or it could look like napping, right? I think finding different ways to rest is good, but resting for so long that you hit a point of no oblivion, in my opinion, is very difficult. But obviously, like, that's just my opinion. I'm not saying that's something you should expound on other people. You find your own ways of self-care and however that looks for you. And it's definitely different if you're someone watching or listening who's not in college or someone who's in high school, because those schedules can also be very different. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, my youngest brother is going to be in high school next year. And I think, I could be wrong about this if you know where I am currently, but I believe that they're doing a block schedule now where they're going to have like 4 classes in one day, which is like the A block, and then the other 4 in the next day, and they kind of alternate, and that's the B block. So each class will be 2 hours, and it's like spaced out so that you have like some time of more hearing the lecture and stuff, and more time to, like, the second hour of, like, let's say English class is kind of just like a study period, or you can just do whatever you want, which I think is way more productive. I don't understand why we didn't adopt the block system earlier. It's so tiring, I'm sure, for teachers every day, and I'm like sure they don't want to grade things later because they have class every day. That's obviously a lot of preoccupied time. So I don't know, it's just so silly. Like, if you have that kind of schedule, the first half of class teachers can like do their thing, but the second half they can chill, or they can start to work on grading, or they can do other things, they can take a break. Even for students, like you can also take a break or get started on homework. It's so silly. That's why I like college a lot more, and I prefer the stress of college over the stress of high school, because I have time to learn certain things. Like, if I'm behind on reading for something, that's okay. I can catch up during the week, start next week's reading, and then be caught up by the time I have to go back to class. It gives me time to learn the material rather than kind of just learning half of something every day for 5 days a week. So I find that I've learned a lot more and a lot less at the same time because we're doing school online. So I don't remember a lot of things. I hope that this information doesn't come to bite me in the butt. I don't remember anything about microeconomics at all. I took the semester exam. I don't remember anything. So I might be screwed if I have to take a unit related to that next year, but we're just not going to talk about it. Okay. I'll probably do like 1 or 2 more questions, then I'll hop off. And this question is asking, what are 2 things you should know how to do, but don't? Okay. I do not know how. Well, I don't know how to pay my credit card. So I have a credit card. When I got my debit card, I went to the bank with the intention of getting a debit card because I was always using cash to pay for things if I would go out with my friends. So I got a debit card, and the lady at the bank was like, "You should get a credit card." And I was like, "Okay, I'll get it," because they were gonna send it in the same like mail package anyway. So I get the credit card, and I haven't used it for man, it's been maybe a year and a half. I haven't touched the credit card. So my parents have been telling me to use it, like maybe if I shop online or whatever. I don't know how you pay it back. Like, I get the concept of the credit card, and I have the Bank of America app on my phone, but I do not know how to pay back a credit card. So that's that's kind of a concern. I feel like I should kind of know how to do that. And another thing is probably, parking backwards. I don't think I've ever mentioned this on the podcast, but I don't think I'm a bad driver. I think I'm a decent driver. But I had to take my driver's test 4 times. Okay, I can just go through each one. The first time I was stopping too far away from stop signs. I was like super nervous, so I was like stopping early as a precaution. I thought, dang, I'm so safe. They're gonna commend me for that, but they didn't. That's actually, you shouldn't stop too far away from a stop sign. You should stop at the line where you think the line is. And I was asking questions during the test, like sometimes there are turns that you make, but you have to move up a little bit, right? So you can like look left and right. Sometimes it's not enough to stop at the stop sign line. Sometimes you have to go a little further. And I was asking, can I move up to C? Because that would mean I'm going over the stop sign line. And they were like, yeah, you can. And as I was driving back, they were like, well, we're going to fail you because you were asking questions and you stopped too far away from the stop signs, which I was like, okay, that's fair because you shouldn't be asking questions. That shows that you don't think you're ready to be driving. So don't ask questions when you have driving tests. And this is at a Texas DPS. So, also, I don't know if like the person with you, like sitting next to you during the driver's test, like actually factors in like how well you do. Because there were definitely the first person who did my driver's test, she was so scary. So it kind of freaked me out. The second lady was very nice. This was, what the heck? This was on Valentine's Day, a few hours before I had to go to a tournament, a debate tournament. So, okay, there are roads that are like straight, but they have like a line in the middle. So it's like a T on its side, right? So the thing that you're supposed to do is you're supposed to drive up to the intersection. You stay straight, and then you drive perpendicular to the left. If you're watching on YouTube, you can kind of see the maneuvers like this and then that. Because if you kind of just like go straight in like an L shape, like it's like a curved edge on a, like, is this making sense? I don't know if this is making sense. But basically what I did was because on the right side you're driving, on the other side someone else could be driving. So I didn't stop and then turn left. I just kept going left, and there was a car really far in the distance coming towards us, and so I failed on the spot because I didn't stop and then turn left. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. The lady was really nice about it. She was like, you gotta be safe because what matters is your life. And I said, yeah, you're right. She said, I have a teen son who also is learning to drive and teaching him all this stuff. And I don't know, I wasn't that mad about that one because she was so nice to me. And the third time was actually my parallel parking. The first 2 times, they were kind of irked about my parallel parking, but they were like, it's fine, that wasn't the biggest offense. But I seriously, like, fucked up my parallel parking, so they failed me on the spot there. The fourth time I did in the same day. This was literally the day before they canceled school for the pandemic. And yeah, I took my third and fourth driver's tests on the same day because my mom was like, oh, it's so Young if you don't like just get your license already. And Young means it's like, oh, it's a waste or it's too bad in Tagalog. So we went to a driving school and I took my driver's test again. I spent like maybe 10 minutes even trying to get into the parallel parking spot. And then the lady was like, okay, just whatever, do the next thing. I did everything else. I passed those because I learned from my mistakes, but I really don't think I should have passed the parallel parking part, but they did anyway. And rumor has it, I guess, that with driving schools, they're more likely to pass you, and they also charge like a $75 fee to take the test, but it's more likely that they'll pass you if you like generally know how to drive. DPS, like driving tests, are apparently like super strict and stuff, so yeah, by any means, I don't think I was a terrible driver. I just definitely overthought the whole process, and I probably should have looked up a video of what they expected of me and whether or not I could do it. But, okay, my theory as to like why driving schools are probably more likely to pass you is because of their reputation. Obviously, if you pass at a driving school, like you would tell your friends, okay, yeah, I passed at X driving school. And they'd be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go there and pay them money to take an easier, more lenient driver's test. So it's like a publicity sort of thing. And they also told me like oh, if you refer someone, you get money from that, or something like that. Or they get like a 20% off discount on the driving school course or whatever. So, yeah, that was interesting. So, it's funny that I got my license um, literally the day before they canceled school. So I took my third driver's test at the DPS, and then we drove to the driving school to try and take it. I took it again. I passed. We went back to the DPS uh, to get my license. It was a long ass trip, but I finally got my license, but I couldn't go anywhere. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. So another thing, the question again was, what are two things you should know how to do but don't? Parking backwards, I can do in theory, but I am not good at it. So I never do it, and I will avoid it until the day I die. Anyway, I guess that'll be it for today's bonus episode. I went on a really long tangent about driving because I just remembered it. And my brother, one of my brothers is learning to drive, or will be, I guess, learning to drive. So that's why I thought about it. And what started in quarantine, of course, has now come to a non-temporary end. Please keep keep a lookout for Sonica's bonus episode maybe next week or sometime later, and we will come back with episode 40, which we are super excited about because again, it is also very close to the 1 year anniversary of our podcast. And I'm gonna end off, I guess, with the song of the week, which is Laser by Lil Boy and Weinstein. I really, really like the song, makes me happy, gives off a good vibe, and they're both like super talented artists, so please go stream that in the link below, and I will see you soon, maybe in about 2 weeks. Okay, bye!